Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. And hello, everybody. Glad to be here with you today. I'm here to talk to you today about how to stay safe, centered, and thriving during all different times. So during the time of this podcast, of course, as you know, there's the coronavirus situation going on here and around the world. And there's been all kinds of things being shared about it, and it's kind of the focus of everybody's attention through most of the day, it seems like, even if it is a huge part of the background at a minimum. So it is. It's really been opening up a lot of energy, a lot of fears, a lot of natural. I would say natural fear. Some people call it real fear, but I call it natural fear. It's a fear that will naturally arise. It doesn't have to actually arise, but tends to be natural for people for fear to arise when scary things seem to be showing up, and things that are, potentially can be very dangerous and even life-threatening. So I wanted to talk to you about that, and then just talk about how that really intersects with all of you people, the beautiful light workers, the world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs in the world, and how you can go beyond circumstances that you're having, no matter what they may be, now during this time or any times where you become fearful and wondering what to do. Many of you already may be in businesses or might be thinking about going into business at some point. And if you're thinking about making the leap to make that big world-changing difference, you want to do that going from wherever you are right now. For a lot of people, it can feel fearful and daunting, and some of you are just kind of we call it crazy, right? We just like, well, whatever. I do feel some fear, but I don't care. I'm feeling fearless at the same time, and whatever happens, that's good. And but not most of us are like that. I found that most of us are not set up that way in terms of how we operate in life, to this point anyway. So most of us are always looking for safety and security because we want to take care of our own personal safety and security. It's a psychological basic need, right? We look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and safety is right there at the foundation. So we're looking for that in order to be able to progress to higher and higher levels of actualization. So how can you allow yourself to feel safe, centered, and then thrive even? So I'm going to go ahead and share some information on this today that'll be helpful to you. And maybe we'll enter into some sort of a little mini process so you can experience that, being more safe and centered, and then really putting your eye on thriving. So if you're a world-changing spiritual entrepreneur and you've already been doing something else or been very successful doing something else, you're looking to transition, but you're going through some fears, you're having a lot of energies coming up, you're already an empathic, sensitive person, we've got all this stuff going on in the world. There's just some really basic things we can do that are always good reminders. Number one is, as much as the news is going on and as important as the news is to some degree to keep up with right now, whereas normally it actually isn't maybe quite as important, you really want to dial down the news. If you find your vibration, your energy, your sense of your vibration lowering consistently as you're watching various news items and programs or what have you, that's a sign that it's probably not something you should be taking in. Certainly not to continue to put gas on the fire, as I say. If you're already fearful and you keep watching the news, the big shadow, there could be a monster at the door, but the sense of that monster looks way bigger when we put gas on the fire and say, whoa, that monster's going to kill me for sure. And I think that is what is happening. I know not everybody agrees with that, but I think there's a lot of so much fear that has become such a monster to us, regardless of all the sensible aspects of what we're doing. There's so much fear about it that the monster at the door has gotten to be way too big, and it's illusion. It's not as real as it seems, even though there are some real risks and dangers right now. So with all that being said, how can we even transcend that? We're going to talk about that. We're going to get into that. So how can we transcend all of it? So in order to stay centered and safe and then thriving, so one of the things is just a really basic thing of just taking good care of yourself by not overindulging and watching the news and getting into the drama. That often that's just a reason to avoid doing things that are even way scarier to you, like doing your own podcast that you could be launching, or doing Facebook Lives, or all the things you'll be doing online right now. There's huge opportunities. People are looking to be online and interact more online, and there's more people wanting to share online. So it's an abundant environment, and there's more enough room for everybody. So turn off the things that keep stoking the fear, put the focus on the things that you're really the most scared of, which is actually sharing yourself more, because universally, as I've worked with thousands of light workers around the world, I've found that the visibility fears, the expression fears, showing up fully fears are the deepest real fears that we have. It's been known for a long time that public speaking is the #1 fear that people have. At least that's what people say, right? So it's rather be dead than to have to public speak for some people. And that comes from past lifetimes of being persecuted, being, having I have all these scans. I can tell you, it's like the scan autopsies, like cut throats, hangings, just, being imprisoned, all these things, burnt at the stake, so many scenarios. And I've seen them play out in the intuitive energy scans of people's fields again and again, and often does always show up in this throat chakra. And so really claiming your power right now and showing up and letting, instead of fear take over, letting the power within you to show up, the presence of your power to show up in the world will create a ripple effect that transmits the sense of empowerment for others that will allow them to feel safe as well, to feel enthused and positive. And the energy comes in to help support them in being more centered, because you're showing up to bring your beautiful message, whatever it may be. So don't keep turning to the news and overindulging in such things, overindulging in social media and sharing nice little things back and forth with people, or maybe not so nice things back and forth with people, engaging hours of worth of this stuff, and then you're not doing your purpose work. I mean, you're holding way back on that. And then for some of you, maybe you're not thriving financially where you want to be thriving. Maybe you have money, but maybe it's dwindling. Maybe it's not as much as it used to be. And now you're not, you have to show up. You have to do your thing. So I'm seeing people too that have been, again, very successful in certain areas in life. They're seeing what's happening, the crisis, not just a virus, but the crisis in the energy of the collective. And they're saying, I have to rise now. And I guess that's my call to you, is to rise, to rise in your visibility, rise in sharing your voice. You could say, well, I'm scared and it's my past lives, and it's true, but it's like, can't let that stop you anymore, because what is this moment calling for? Like that moment when, those moments when we've been persecuted, that was the time for those things. Now is the time for us to stand in our true power, which has always been the opportunity. And when we do so, we make a big difference, and we actually can be safe as long as we're centered. How do you become centered as you're speaking? How do you become centered no matter what's going on? It's recognizing that you're fully connected with source, that there's, and you feel that connection. You cultivate the centered connection. How do you do that? You do that by, yes, getting into your body, as they say, shutting off the thoughts through meditation, right? So meditating several times throughout the day, even if it's for a few minutes here and there. Doing extended ones, of course, is very highly recommended. But as you center yourself, you won't feel as much fear about anything. And then, yeah, then taking the action may seem fearful still, but if you actually maintain your meditative connected state, as you go to do anything, the energy will rise and you'll show up as powerful and as profound as you're meant to be. But you won't feel the fear because you realize you're just in a walking meditation anyway. You wake from the illusion, the dream that, oh my God, like I'll actually be at risk by doing this, and you won't, because look, everyone's doing. That's what's so nice, is there's so many people online sharing now. So how could you possibly be at risk? There's thousands and millions of people similar to yourself now online sharing and doing this work, light work, or whatever you want to call it, being light leaders, sharing their deep truths, their deep powers and abilities and capacities and wisdoms and paradigm changing truths. They're doing it. They're showing up. They're sharing. They're safe. They're well. Of course, there's always someone who where there's something happened. Okay, something happens and they get shut down, or maybe something actually did happen to them. I'm not saying that there's 0% chances of that ever happening to anyone, but can't happen if you're fully connected. That's what I know for a fact. If you're really fully connected, it can happen. Or you're so surrendered to your purpose that I think about people like Gandhi. Gandhi always comes to mind. He was surrendered to dying for what he stood for. And he just, I don't know if he created or he tuned into it, but like he knew he'd be killed. He knew he'd be assassinated. And he prepared for that moment, all this, for many years before it happened. He was prepared. He was like, it's okay. It's okay. It's what's meant to be. So I'm not saying any of that needs to be for you. I'm just saying we have to quit clinging to the life that we have. We need to start getting into the deeper sense of the connection of the purpose and the presence that's within, because that's where the true one life is, the true unity and connection that we are. And from that interconnection, then we can harness and allow what wants to unfold into our lives and into our impact effortlessly, with a sense of effortlessness, where nothing seems to be happening. Maybe things are diddling along. All of a sudden, big things are happening because you're in a deep presence and you're showing up from this presence. And so how you do that is through meditation. You do that through, be more mindful. Are you breathing? How are you thinking? Are you going with the fearful or negative thoughts? Sometimes there's moments when I'll catch myself doing such things, and then my practice is then to shift it. Is to choose to shift it. And if I'm not choosing to shift it, I realize I'm just not choosing to shift it. And if I'm not going to choose to shift it unless I entertain myself with my negative thoughts, I'm not saying it's the healthiest practice, but I find like that's a lane I might show up in every once in a while. And like, okay, I'm entertaining myself with negative thoughts, paranoid thoughts, or whatever. And then it's like, okay, yeah, that's enough of that after a couple of minutes. And then I'm like, okay, let's go here. Once assuming I wake up, because some of our fearful stuff and the negative sort of thinking just comes in, like, it seems to come in, right? And you may not notice what you're doing. You just think you're caught up in your story, right? And then you have to wake up from your story. So one great tool that I use, that I talk to a lot of my private clients about, and over the years, many of my groups that I've run too, is to use the always advertising of Byron Katie, her 4 questions. So if you go to the work.org, you can access her 4 questions. She asks, any thought you have, you just take it to the mats. Is it true? Can you know it's absolutely true? How do you react, or how do you react when you believe the thought? Who would you be without the thought? Asking these 4 questions. And when you start putting it through the filter, like when you're so convinced of these fearful ideas, well, we all know blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to even offer what the thoughts are, but whatever they are, like just to put it to the mat of truth. Well, is it true? I mean, I will bring up one that's kind of fun. Money doesn't grow on trees. I know money doesn't grow on trees. That's a thought. Okay. Well, is it true? No, money doesn't grow on trees. There's no trees that grow money. Can you absolutely know it's true? How can you absolutely know anything? What if money did grow on trees? I mean, it is paper. I mean, so at least some of the money is. But I mean, my point is anything could end up being true in some sort of way or fashion. So there could be a way in which that's true. What if money did grow, was just so abundant that you could pick it like an apple off a tree? I mean, and it is. The truth is it is, but only for those that are willing to recognize that deep eternal truth, that it's all here now. And so when you're centered, you realize that you'd feel it. And then what the separation mind does is it's when it looks for evidence that it's here already, it's looking instead for lack and how it's not there, rather than looking from the place within the centered place that already sees it all is here now. And then the part that's projecting in time and space, right? It's saying, well, in this time and space and present moment, I don't see it. Actually, I see the lack of it. But the eternal self sees it all the time. It knows it's always here. It knows that the experience of plucking it, so to speak, comes when the time is right, and that it's perfectly fine when those moments of those experiences happen, and to let it be in perfect timing. So you want to stay centered, I mean, and stay safe in your thoughts, guarding your own consciousness, because those of you listening are probably guardians of the consciousness, term I like to use. You're meant to here to help be a guardian for the consciousness. So you have to clarify your own consciousness and deepen that. And so by shifting your, through this fear and negative energy, doesn't matter what the times are. Like, well, no, wait a minute, this is pandemic times, so now we're supposed to be fearful and have all these thoughts. No, that's not true. So it's like, let me put it this way: if someone's about to stab you, or truck was about to run you over, is there any need to become negative or fearful? No. I mean, it's not going to do anything for you, really. Everybody says, oh, well, when the tiger comes, you want to be fearful, so you get that adrenaline rush, and then you can have flight, and it'll keep you safe, right? So fear is good. That's the thing. Or, fear is your friend, and, all this stuff. And, well, I guess, if you don't know how to be centered and present, then fear can be your friend, right? It can do incredible things to support you in some ways when properly channeled. It can do great things. And the truth is, through my own experience and what I observed in life, I'm really, real observer of life. And what I've learned through my own experiences and practices is the more centered I am, always is more powerful than no matter how fearful and negative I could ever be. Like if I could channel fear and like, no matter what this is happening, because if I don't, I'm the worst person in the world. And then I'm going to let that motivate me to manifest. Could be really powerful, but it wouldn't be as powerful if I was just centered and just letting go of the fullness of what's available to unfold through me. But that does mean that I have to show up in the fullness, in the presence, in the connection with others. It's circulating energy. It's circulating love. It's circulating presence. And that's where we stay safe. We want to increase the spread. We want to increase the spread. Everybody says slow the spread. No, we want to increase the spread. That's the thing. We want to increase the spread of presence and love and truth. We have to increase the spread exponentially quickly. And that's how to thrive, is you want to increase the spread of truth and love and goodness in the world. And when we allow that spread really just to awaken consciousness is really what it is. But the spread, the circulation is happening. This is where the massive prosperity comes in. And it definitely won't come in the form of fearfully withdrawing and in that regard, kind of shutting down. Um, so, I mean, I know you can always give counterexamples. Well, what if someone had a gun to your head, or this or that? Would you want to try to stay safe and stay away from the gun? You could go on and on with examples, but the truth is, when you're really present, the guy with the gun can't even exist anymore. And it's a truth. It's an absolute truth. And there's definitely so many accounts and stories. You can probably find them online yourself. I don't have specific websites for you to go to, but there's case examples where people go to do crimes or misdeeds or rape or whatever it is. People are really deeply connected and present. And the minute they're really deeply connected present, the attacker cannot advance anymore. And so there are real world examples too. There's I forget the man's name, but there's a man in Japan who has museums of gold. Now, Japan's a culture that's around honor and there's low crime and all that sort of thing, but he has museums of gold, that are open to the public, and they never lock their doors. They leave it open, and it's it's available. I mean, there's probably some level of security, but it's not really guarded. So if that's and it's because of the man's consciousness. He says, no defense, no need for attack. And he has the consciousness established. And that's the same here. It's like, no need for a defense, then there's no need for an attack. So if there's no sense of resistance to life itself, there's no need for anything to enter into me that could harm me. And it's in the human sense, right? Nothing, you can't be harmed at, your deepest spiritual essence ever. That's untouchable. But we could be, have a physical, malady or, experience. For sure, we could have energy come in that saps us or hurts us or puts us in an illness. So, but when we're present, when we're deeply present, and we're not resisting the presence, and we're allowing yourself to deepen in that presence, there's literally there's no room for any of that. So allow yourself to cultivate this presence, affirm your wellness every single day, affirm your prosperity every day. The way to thrive during any times is to be present, deeply in your connection with Source, and become fully visible, being you and doing what you're meant to be doing right now. And allowing yourself to be thriving, doing what you're doing in the case of people I'm talking to, world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs, wherever you are, you're probably in the development of your next big thing, whatever it is. And you need to start letting people pay you for what you do, even if it's something for right now. Get something going, get some clients, for a lot of you, it's like one-to-one clients. And yet you have this huge center you want to do, or you want to transform healthcare or the education system, but you have to start somewhere. So you start somewhere, and even if you could bankroll it for a few years and not need to do that, it doesn't matter. You want to get the energy circulating. You don't want to keep waiting, too long. And you can learn so much by offering some sort of service or connection with people right now. Right now, during this time, it's time to gather partners. It's time to gather new clients, new people you can serve, and deepen in presence and support and love with each other. And, so many amazing partnerships are being created right now. And so many wonderful new relationships are being established right now. And it's a ripe time for it. And the people that are really see that and feel that and are willing to go with that are going to thrive. So there's many things we could talk about. We can talk about taking care of your physical body through your immunity and health and exercise, and all that would be perfect to share. And it's exactly true. And everything I would share. And yet these deeper things I'm pointing to are the things that are the most vital things, much more vital than taking your vitamin D or something. These are more vital things that will help you even far greater. So it's not, either or, but it's all of it. And yet this is primary. So this is energetically and is how to thrive during these times. Structurally, we talked a little bit about just like getting out there, so to speak, online and all that. I do help people with things with structurally as well, but I tailor it to each being and what I see for you. But now is a great time. Yeah. You do your Facebook Lives, your Zoom meetings. I mean, there's just, virtual retreats, just one-to-one connecting with people online that you're meeting or people you haven't talked to in a while. There's so many options. And when I meet with people, I do help them. When I work with people, I do help you structurally with these things too. On top of helping you understand this way of being that I'm doing a deeper dive on a little bit today, that I keep pointing to through these podcasts. So anyway, so I'm so grateful to have shared with you. Keep breathing, keep allowing yourself to move with a sense of boldness and fearlessness. And yet, yes, as always in life, when you're present, you're always going to take a certain sense of, they say precaution, but it's like, yeah, it's just making sure that you're stepping in alignment with your presence when you're in presence. So you're stepping right when you're in presence. And that is its own precaution. It's leading you on the right path rather than on the one that leads to further suffering, right? So trust it, love it, embrace it, enjoy it, and breathe it in. You know how to connect. If you're listening in, you're a person, you know how to deepen in presence. By getting reminded and being asked to trust it more, I find to be really helpful. But yeah, just letting yourself feel yourself in your body, breathing, meditating. These are all great ways, just grounding your energies. When you feel fear, take that squirrely energy, ground it through your root chakra down to the core of the earth, and you'll feel a sense of peace. It'll come into you. Get outside, you can get outside still. No matter where you are these days, you probably can still get outside, get out in nature, all the usual good stuff. All are good foundational things. So, and just, the last thing I want to share today is have fun. You can have fun, right now is a great time. For those of you that, I know it's tough sometimes if you live alone, but you can you can interact with people online and have fun with them. Or if you have family, what a great time. I mean, to get together with family and do things you normally don't do, to have fun together, playing little games or whatever at home, and just lots of things. You can be creative, let the creative impulse come through. So, yeah, and bring that into your work too, by the way. The more fun you have, have fun, relax, bring more impact and make more money. That's what I know is when we're having more fun, there's more great things that are unfolding. There's more impact. There's more financial flow. There's more of everything that you're there's heaven sent for you to receive and get to give. So enjoy. And as usual, as I always say, keep on tuning in, and we'll keep on rocking it here on Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Big love, everybody. You're listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.